There is still a moment now to stop this war. I am not here as a politician. I am here as a soldier who understands service, as a humanitarian who has seen the human cost of conflict, and as a friend of Ukraine who believes the world must not grow used to this war or numb to its consequences.
So Meghan and Harry just made unauthorized statements about Ukraine that violated royal protocol and diplomatic norms. We're analysing the psychological manipulation behind these power plays and how they're damaging both British diplomacy and their own credibility. The body language tells everything.
For him to do that, that's disgraceful.
Exactly right. When you brag about killing 25 people in your memoir like some video game scorecard, you lose all moral authority to lecture world leaders about conflict. Real soldiers don't keep tallies or boast about kills in best-selling books.
That's arrogance, I think, because the self-importance he puts into that, like what he says means something. There's people asking him, so I think he lives in that world where he's never lived in the world like we do. He sees it from a different perspective. I think that's what we're seeing, because what he's talking about, that's crazy. Like somebody would care what he thought when they've already said you're not a royal anymore, or you're not, you can't be doing this, and he's still doing it. Man, he can't call himself a prince or anything, and he's still doing that, and thinks everyone else thinks that too.
Yeah.
Psychologically, that's odd.
This psychological disconnect is stunning. He's operating as if he still has official royal status when the palace stripped his working royal duties in 2020. It's delusional behavior, making foreign policy statements while having zero actual authority or institutional backing.
Like, if you know you want to be taken seriously as a world public figure or an influencer when it comes to geopolitical issues, whatever, shouldn't you behave as such early on? Yeah. Or shouldn't you be conscious of that when you're about to write a book about your life and not make it something that Jimmy Kimmel poked fun? Jimmy Kimmel did a whole skit about Harry and his Todger and the ghost of his mother coming down while he's applying cream to him. Like, you made yourself a joke, and now you're trying to insist that we take you seriously.
Absolutely. You can't write extensively about intimate body parts, do comedy bits on late night TV, then expect world leaders to take your geopolitical advice seriously. The lack of self-awareness is remarkable. Entertainment and diplomacy require completely different approaches.
Do you think it's appropriate for a royal to make those comments ahead of the visit on Monday?
Prince Harry?
Yes, sir.
How's he doing? How's his wife? Please give her my regards, okay? No, I don't know. I know one thing. Prince Harry is not speaking for the UK. That's for sure. I think I'm speaking for the UK more than Prince Harry. But I appreciate his advice very much. Great advice.
Trump's response was perfect diplomatic trolling. The Meghan dig was strategic, reminding everyone who actually controls that relationship. Trump's technically correct too. He does speak for America more than someone stripped of official royal duties speaks for Britain.
Say whoever uses this term has none class. The kid ain't got no class, Kinsey, because you don't do that. This guy's controllable. That's why we're seeing him bouncing all over the place, because he doesn't know who he is. He thinks he's this prince or whatever. That's where I think inside that's the way he sees himself. But the insecurity he has says, I don't know who I am. That's why she's in charge of everything. That's why it's always about her. And he stands there like, yeah, she's awesome, because he's controllable. Anybody that will do that, and you'll go from way over here to way over here, then try to end up in the middle and be all serious and go way over here. He's not in charge of himself.
This manipulation pattern is clear as day. 1 week he's joking about personal anatomy on television. The next he's trying to broker international peace talks. That inconsistency screams external control. Someone else is managing his public persona and messaging.
Well, that's a classic. I mean, that's the way sometimes kingdoms are run. I mean, that goes back ages and ages. There's even a show called The Blackadder, That's a really funny show, but it's about how this guy who they always put him in different positions. Like if he's the butler, he's actually the one that's running England because he has the king's ear like that, and he
Ah.
controls the king, gets done what he wants done because it's like Machiavellian to the ultimate. He gets what he wants done from the person with power by controlling them without them knowing it or anybody else knowing it. They make him feel smart, make him feel like you nailed it, it makes him feel like it's his idea. And don't you see what's happening here? That kind of thing. And they back up and see. And what's happening is normal.
Mhm.
You know, it's normal family stuff or normal political or whatever.
Classic power behind the throne strategy. She gets all the benefits of royal connections and international platform without taking direct responsibility for the diplomatic fallout. Meanwhile, he genuinely believes these foreign policy interventions are his own brilliant ideas.
No, I will always be part of the royal family, and I'm here working and doing the very thing that I was born to do. And you know, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy being able to do these trips and come and support the people that I've met before, the friends that I've made, and hopefully bringing attention to issues that, you know, for one reason or another drop out of the news because something else has popped up. But you know, I'm grateful to all of you guys being here and telling these stories that so desperately need to be told. I understand focus will shift to different places, but ultimately, as I said, what I see, what I hear, and what I learn is that the vast majority of people, whether you're in the UK or whether you're anywhere else in the world, want to see proper leadership, and they want to see an end to these conflicts, whether that's through diplomacy, however we can bring these conflicts to an end for the sake of everybody now, but also for the future of younger generations coming through.
The contradiction is glaring. In Australia, he complained about hating royal duties and wanting normal life. Now, suddenly, he was born to do this work. Which narrative is true? The shifting story reveals someone who'll say anything for current strategic advantage.
Let's talk about his body language when he asks the question, because we see a whole lot happening there. He does that, oh shucks, you know, oh shucks, it's just me. I'm a prince. Yeah, you know, kicking the dirt. Oh shucks, yeah, I'm a royal. You know, that's why I'm here. Just trying to help, man. But watch what happens. He has that blink flash where he blinks really, really quickly. You know, his blink rate goes through the roof there just for a second. So that lets us know there's a little stress there. But at the same time, he's almost batting his eyes at this guy. So you can look at it two different ways. It could be stress, and I think it is a little bit stress because he knows that's not true, that he's a real royal from what he's saying. But you see him pop up a couple of times. When we get good news, when you see somebody who's on the phone and they get good news, and they'll pop up a little bit, you know, like the kid is okay or something. Oh, okay, great, that's great. Or when somebody's getting married and you see the groom sees the bride come out, watch how they lift up real quick. So we see him do that.
What's the good news he's getting? That Chris Shipp still thinks he's a royal?
Yeah, that he's calling him a royal, and people are going to hear it. But let's listen to how he's talking. He's talking, he gets really quiet after that because he knows he shouldn't be talking about this, and he's wishing that question hadn't been brought up. All those little shoulder shrugs let us know that he's not confident with that answer, because that all shucks thing was at the first. That's when he pops up and starts smiling. But when we start seeing the shoulder shrugs, he gets really quiet. His volume drops probably 5 dB at that point. And it's really soft as he's answering that question and talking about that.
That body language analysis reveals everything. The stress indicators, volume drops, and shoulder shrugs show he knows internally that claiming royal authority is false. His subconscious is betraying the conscious performance of still being a working royal.
Yeah.
But the reality was he was heavily protected because of his role. He was heavily protected because he was, you know, the future king's son. And so they went out of their way to ensure his safety. And then also, those are not the type of men that would brag in their book about killing 25 Taliban. You know, several people that I spoke to that worked in service said that is such a no-no. You don't brag about your kills in a book.
Right. So he said that in a book?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something.
In Spare.
I've never been in the military. I'm not that guy, but everybody I sure talked to a lot of them. You don't do that. You don't do that. Now, I'm telling you, if I'm, I can tell you this. Let's say, for example, I'm training a group of what we call operators. and they're special ops guys. Okay. And you're talking, and you spend a lot of time with these people, right? And you talk to them for a couple of minutes, and then you realize, or for a couple of minutes, you may train for an hour or two, then stop, and everybody goes outside or whatever. And then as you're talking to them, they put that little green hat on, and you go, "Holy smokes!" And not once. I've never heard one of them talk about that at all. Not even that. And I know, and I promise you, these are the guys that would be doing that. Nobody says anything about that. Nobody's got their look. I'm a cool, nothing like that. For him to do that's disgraceful.
Military professionals universally condemn that kill count bragging as disgraceful. Real special operations veterans never discuss confirmed kills publicly, especially not in memoirs for profit. It violates every code of military honor and professional conduct.
I think that there's something very manipulative about what Harry and Meghan do when they do pursue little charity ventures, like kneeling with sick children, like the Bondi Beach victims. They go for such sensitive and they go for things that we can all agree on are horrible, like sick children and a massacre on a beach, or even Ukraine. Like, they go for these very delicate matters so that we look bad if we criticize them for doing it, despite the fact that we're trying to hold them accountable for their ulterior motives, which is just to elevate themselves or to change public perception, to rebrand. They left the British royal family to pursue a career in Hollywood, and it hasn't worked out in 6 years. So now they're going, oh, I guess we have to go be royal again so that people will like us. And that's all we're doing. Do we want wars to end? Yes. I mean, I have a peace sign tattooed on my body. I don't like war. Do I think sick children are horrible and it breaks my heart? I do. I was devastated over the Bondi Beach shooting, but I don't think Harry and Meghan are the right mascots for any of these issues.
Brilliant strategic analysis. They deliberately choose emotionally charged causes like sick children and war zones as shields against criticism. Anyone questioning their motives gets painted as heartless, while their real goal is rebranding after Hollywood career failures.
They have no business representing anyone. They are unqualified to represent everyone. It's one thing if they were in the structure of the palace and the palace was approving speeches and the palace was choreographing who they were engaging it with and what the ultimate objective is. But these two are unpredictable. They're self-serving. They're pretty toxic. And And I just am so sick of the palace not saying, look, we have nothing to do with these two. We are absolutely, completely unassociated, and we will continue to be unassociated. They do not represent us. We need to take away their titles just to ensure that the world knows that. And I've made a lot of excuses for the king. I've said, well, he has cancer. He just had to be cruel to his brother. This is a difficult thing for him, but I'm hitting a wall here. I'm over it. Like what I saw in Australia, what I'm seeing here, it's two people that are out of control and out of their depth.
King Charles needs to act decisively here. Every day those titles remain creates international confusion about official British positions. When world leaders don't know if statements represent the crown or just personal opinions, it damages actual British diplomacy.
William and Catherine are in the zone, and this is something that they really enjoy doing, and they're so natural at it. And it does feel, again, I hate to use the word authentic, but authentic, sincere, sweet. They just truly feel like they're there in the moment and they're enjoying themselves. Whereas with Harry and Meghan, oh, I sent you, do you remember that picture I sent you a few days ago? I'm going to just show it briefly on here. The picture I sent you on, sorry, I sent it to you on, this to me just is such a reflection of Meghan Markle. Like, she's hugging this child, but trying to figure out where the camera is. That is alarming.
Yeah. Well, you look at what was going on in this picture. They're not trying to move on to the next person. See what I'm saying? They're not trying to get to as many people as possible for the best pictures. A lot of times you can look at pictures and you really can't tell a whole lot from them, because you look at a picture of a person, what they're doing, because they may be moving from one emotion to another emotion in there, so their faces change or whatever. But that looks a little rough, man. That's hard to talk your way out of that one, where she's looking for something else. When the expression, if that's a real picture, I mean, I look at that and go,
that photo perfectly captures the fundamental difference. William and Catherine engage authentically with people, while these two constantly perform for cameras. When your attention is split between helping others and managing your image, the help becomes secondary to the performance.